Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm so excited to be filming this video. I filmed a video like this at the beginning of quarantine and it has 40,000 views and 1.7 thousand likes, and it gained me most of my subscribers, so I'm so thankful for this video. If you guys don't know which one I'm talking about, it's my best podcast for teens one. I just felt like filming it, so I did, because I had started listening to podcasts at that time and it completely blew up. So I wanted to make a part 2 for you guys, because over quarantine I've definitely changed a lot as a person. If you've been subscribed to me since that time or before that time, you can probably tell by my video aesthetic and my channel aesthetic, my editing. It's definitely changed, and it's crazy that was 8 months ago. And I remember I wanted to film that video and I was like, okay, well I have to get a video up for today, so I'll just film this one. And I threw on my hoodie, some mascara, and I sat outside and I was like, oh my gosh, it's windy, my hair looks so bad, this video is so terrible, but whatever, I'll just upload it. And it ended up being extremely successful, so I thought I'd make a part 2. I have different tastes in podcasts. Some of them are the same, so if you haven't seen the original podcast video, welcome to this one. You can kind of get the same ones that I said before, except I have a lot of new ones, and a lot of the ones that I said before are not in here anymore. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So the first podcast I have is Breaking Beauty. The Breaking Beauty podcast is a podcast all about beauty. They talk about different celebrities who drop beauty brands, and they talk about the best products. They interview professional makeup artists, professional dermatologists, professional plastic surgeons, and it's just really interesting. I learn a lot from that podcast, and a lot of the products they recommend I actually really enjoy. So if you are into beauty, that's one of them. This next podcast is probably my favorite podcast of 2020. It's so great. It also came out this year. It's called Food, Sex, and Money with Kenzie Burke. Kenzie Burke, if you don't know her, she became really famous, I think it was last year or a couple years ago, when she released her 20-day reset or 21-day reset, where she basically introduces food combining and how to live a healthier lifestyle. Her mantra is for the life and body you desire, or vice versa. And I really want to try her reset. I know there's a lot of controversy around it, but personally I just really enjoy her content, and I think she's such a genuine and beautiful person. So I love this podcast. She honestly has taught me so much, and it really gets you grounded, and just, I don't know, her episodes really resonate with me. She has an episode called Evolving into Your True Self, and an episode about astrogeography. So that is an amazing podcast if you're looking to be inspired. My next podcast, this was in the last video as well, it's Gals on the Go. This is with Danielle Corlin and Brooke Michio. I think that's how you pronounce their names. They're also YouTubers, and I don't keep up with them on YouTube or Instagram, but their podcast is really fun. They're post-grad students, and they just kind of talk about college things, young adult things that are really interesting. For example, they have an episode called What College is Really Like, Dating Friends, Comparing Yourself in Confidence. They have an episode called How to Thrift Like a Pro, and they have one called Starting an Online Boutique as a Teen. So they just have a lot of cool different episodes like that for teenagers, I think. My next podcast is Los Angeles. This is another beauty podcast. It's pretty similar to Breaking Beauty. My next podcast is Maddie in the Morning. You guys, if you're from Boston, Massachusetts, New England, you probably know Maddie in the Morning. They're just a morning show that is on the radio, but I listen to them on the podcast. All of these podcasts can be listened anywhere podcasts are found, I'm pretty sure, but I just listen to mine on Apple Podcasts. So yeah, my next podcast is Maddie in the Morning, the after show. So it's Bex and Justin from Maddie in the Morning, and they basically go on for a couple minutes after the Maddie in the Morning show is filmed and then or recorded, and then they just talk about what happened. And they also are for like a younger audience, so they talk about pop culture, music, things like that. So they're really interesting, but it's also about their lives a lot, so if you don't keep up with them, I wouldn't recommend that podcast. The next podcast is one that I've been listening to every day for the past week. I listened to it a little bit sporadically before, but now I've been trying to make it a daily habit. So it is called Optimal Living Daily. Every day he or the host reads to you like a blog post, or just like he talks to you about something inspirational and helps set your day up. So I really like that one. The next podcast is also one I've been listening to daily. So daily I listen to Maddie in the Morning, Optimal Living Daily. This one, Psalm Starter, so it's with a pastor. He reads a Bible verse every day, and I just listen to that in the morning. He'll read it, explain it, and then we do a prayer at the end. So it's super short. I think it's only, they're like 3 minutes long, and it's just a good way to start your day if you're Catholic or if you like want to listen to a Bible verse. So the next podcast is 10% Happier with Dan Harris. This is another personal development self-help podcast. I've been really into those, if you couldn't tell already. He has an episode called A Great Way to Get Out of Your Head. He interviews a lot of good people who work in like the self-help field. The next podcast I have is also self-help. It's the Lavendaire Lifestyle. She's a lifestyle and design and personal growth podcast. She has a podcast titled Good Morning, Good Life, Perfect Morning Routines, How to Take Ownership of Your Life, Living an Optimal Life. The next podcast I have is The Morning Toast. You guys, I love this podcast. I listen to it every day. I actually haven't listened to today's episode yet. Basically, they do something called the Fast 5 Stories, and they'll tell you the 5 stories that happened in pop culture, sports, media, tech, and it's really fun. They also have a YouTube show. Like, you can watch them on YouTube, like, as if you're watching, like, a morning show, which I think would be fun to do, like, once I get an apartment and, like, move out and stuff. But as for right now, I'm just gonna listen to the podcast because it's easier for me. The next show I have on here, I listen to this every Tuesday. It's The Snatchler. So the girls who host The Morning Toast, they're sisters, and they have a sister, well, both of, okay, so there's 4 sisters, Claudia, Olivia, Margot, and Jackie. So Jackie and Claudia do The Morning Toast, and Jackie also does The Redheads, which is a book club podcast that I don't listen to, but I heard it was good. And then Olivia has a podcast about being like a mom. I'm not sure what it's called. And then there's Margot, who has this podcast, and they just talk about The Bachelor, and they give Bachelor recaps, and then they do a couple like pop culture things, but they mostly just talk about like The Bachelor and Bachelor Nation. My next podcast is the Uncomfortable podcast. So this is with Dom Roberts. She has an episode about burnout, an episode about starting a business during a pandemic, an episode about how to get out of your head. So she has a lot of good, like, fun podcasts, and I like to listen to her. She's really funny too. The next one is Tiny Leaps, Big Changes. I love this podcast. It's another self-help podcast, so it's pretty similar to the other ones I said. His most recent episode is titled Why Motivation is Detrimental to Your Success. Oh, interesting. I'm excited to listen to that. My next podcast is Unlocking Us with Brené Brown. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Her most recent episode is an interview with Barack Obama. She does interviews with a lot of influential people, and it's also like self-help. The next podcast, I love this podcast. It's so fun. It's because a lot of these podcasts I've been listening to, they're just more serious, and then I also love to have things like The Morning Toast, and this one, We Bought a House. So this is with Claudia Selesky. She's a YouTuber, and Phineas O'Connell? No, Phineas Eilish, right? Is that their last name? I feel like it's Phineas O'Connell. Yeah, Phineas O'Connell, I'm right. So he's Billie Eilish's brother, and his girlfriend's Claudia Selesky. So they just give updates on their life, basically. I think that's really all. Yeah, they just talk about like their lives, and it's really interesting to me. I didn't keep up. I've never heard of Claudia before. I didn't know she was a YouTuber, and I didn't keep up with Phineas. I only subscribed to their podcast because I heard about it on Billie Eilish's Instagram a while ago, so I thought Billie was starting a podcast. So I was like, oh, this sounds so cool, like I want to listen to Billie's podcast. But she's like never on it. I don't think she's ever been on it, and they don't even like talk about her. As I started listening to it, I was like, these people are so funny and like I love them. And so I listen to it now just because I like them, not even like about Billie. I forget that they're siblings sometimes when I'm listening to it. My last podcast is the What We Said podcast with YouTubers JC Marie and Chelsea Jade Curtis. I don't keep up with their YouTube, I don't think. No, I don't. I used to with JC, but not really anymore. Their podcast is so fun. It's so like girly. It's like Gals on the Go, but like different. It's so fun. They always give like advice, and it's just like a fun podcast. It feels like you're on a sleepover, honestly. Their latest episode is titled Craziest Celebrity Encounters. They have one on internet trolls and cancel culture, and another one on in-law drama, friend zoning, and other holiday advice. That is it for today's video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to enter my giveaway. It ends in 3 days, I think. Wow. So I'll be giving out a $25 Amazon gift card as well as a free menu item or drink from Dunkin' or Starbucks. All you have to do is subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram, and then DM me done. I will see you guys tomorrow. Happy